Ryan, and today we are going to be tackling the first guest character, for the White Lotus Dojo. I have held them off until last because I figured if anybody wants to watch this series to get into Mortal Kombat because, hey, the new DLC's coming out and they want to see what's going on, this would be a great place to start. And I figure a lot of those people who are coming in are either going to be coming in because, well, Melina's finally going to be in the game, or because they are RoboCop fans, or Rambo fans, sorry. I presume, based off of the crazy fan response, that more might actually fall into the latter camp, or the former camp, the Melina camp. So I figured I'd get all the Mortal Kombat characters out of the way as an overview, and then for those Rambo fans, we can talk all about guests starting now. RoboCop. We're going to start with RoboCop because, quite frankly, I think he is my least favorite of the guest characters, and frankly as well, I think he's just going to be the easiest to mention because he is the most straightforward guest character, period. I think he's one of the most straightforward characters that NetherRealm has ever released. Put them away, throw them away, and keep shooting. Just start blasting like those Danny DeVito memes. So, without further ado, we're going to do the usual, which is to say, easy crushing blows on, damage info on, of course. Sorry, my glasses broke last night, so I'm going to work on. So my vision ain't what it used to be, Sonny. So, or game HUD on, control player. I think we're basically good here. All I have to do is set up the block information. Now, RoboCop is probably my least favorite guest character that they ever pulled out. There were a few fans that I was like, which gave me a little bit of perspective on why, but again, this guy was replacing Ash Williams. Yeah, so you can imagine my confusion that we went from Bruce Campbell's Chainsaw Man to that dude, you know, with the gun and the gun and the gun. Sorry, let's see, spray and pray. Does that connect to anything? No, it doesn't look like it does. No, it does. Never mind. So does forward 3 connect to anything? Yes, it does. Quick spray. Wow, you get a surprising amount of normals that don't connect to anything. Both of his crushing blows have throws, so we'll just do that for now. Kneecapper. It's a 7 frame down 1. Quick, easy to get, deal with. He is -5. Okay. I know my glasses are broken, so this might mess with my vision, but I'm gonna just throw it on, because at least I have my left lens. Yeah, so I'm gonna be a pirate for this video, in that I only have one eye. You won't be able to see that, unfortunately, but there we go. Strong Armed is a 16 frame pop-up. It's a high, though, and -5. So this can be easily punished, and you can go into combos like that. Simple, easy combos, because that's what RoboCop's all about. He's not all about the normal combo paths. Then there's Rising Spike, which is an 8 frame down 1 with pretty good range. It's not the best uppercut in the game, but I mean, at least you could get some combos out of that. Then we have Concealed Weapon, which is just a standing 1 or standing 3 with decent height. But again, everything we've touched so far is a high, except for the down 1. Then we have Ankle Breaker, which is his low, 10 frame low. Really good because of that extra spike. -10 on block though. Also, Concealed Weapon is +1. Then we have Heavy Heal, which knocks down, and is +6 on block. It doesn't go away because it's flawless block data, but still. Stop flawless blocking, Terminator. Thank you. +6 if this is blocked, so. And as you can see, this is special cancelable. Although I can't really think of any special moves right off the top of my head that would go into this besides Fatal Blow, but we'll talk about that at the end of the video. Then we have Spray and Pray, which is his sweep. He doesn't drop down to sweep, and it's 2 hits. But the thing is, it's -16 on block, so if you intend on sweeping with this thing, make sure you're doing it from about maximum range. You can almost start the round with this though, so it's not terrible. Then we have Criminal Kick, which actually, yeah, Criminal Kick does go into something. So never mind. We'll cover a Criminal Kick in the strength section, which means I can actually add the throws. Yay! Sorry, I'm a little scatterbrained today, so I apologize for that. But then there's Quick Spray. Start of the round almost. Down 3. On block, this is -9. However, it looks like it doesn't really change anything, but still, because of its range, you can make this thing safe, even though it is not technically safe because it's -9, which makes it a really good down 4. Now let's talk about his back throw, which both of his throws have crushing blows. And if you could guess, the requirements are basically universal. Fail a throw tech, clobber, bam, crushing blow. And I just realized this is going to be the most family-friendly showcase of crushing blows yet. Fantastic. But that's not what we're really here for. And then, of course, the jumping attacks. First up, we're going to talk about his wake-up attacks, which, hold on a minute. There we go. That's 1. And here's 2. Okay, so first up is Lethal Stab, his invincible wake-up. It's 10 frames and has respectable range, but that's because of the stab. Otherwise, it's not nothing to write home about. On block, Lethal Stab is -6 with a total with -11 on Flawless block. Then we have Omni Strike, which is his wake-up launcher. And on block, this is -12, but it anti-airs fairly well. Now we have, to begin closing out, we have his short hop attacks, which are not that great. Cyber Knee and Cyborg Chop. They have about the same range. In fact, I think the Chop actually has slightly... Oh, no, they have about the same range. The Chop is 10 frames. The Knee is 11 frames. It's one of those ones like Liu Kang that you might think that it's an overhead, but at least with this one, it kind of makes sense to be an overhead because of the knee still. So, yeah, treat these as normal short hops and you can't go wrong. And they don't have the best range anyway. Then we have, to round out the normals, Riveting Blow, Heavy Swipe, and Spike Drop. The Riveting Blow makes for a pretty good air-to-air, and Heavy Swipe is better for contacts on the ground, so there you go. Basic example. You're going to be seeing that combo a lot with RoboCop, by the way, because it plays into their hands extremely well. But we'll talk about that once we cross the limits. We're going to do... Yeah, we'll add those in, because if we count those, it'll make him look a little more impressive, and RoboCop needs all the help that he can get in the impressive combo department. Ugh. Anyways, don't move, creep! Comes off of an 8-frame punish, leaves the opponent standing, and you can go for any sort of special move that you want. In this variation, you can do back 1 or down back 1 to get some distance, but universally speaking, you can always do 1-2-1 back 4-2 in order to get some distance. And at least if you have the Cobra Assault Cannon, you can knock them back full screen fairly easily, and now they have to deal with your zoning, which RoboCop is extremely good at. Then there's Crime Prevention Unit 001, which goes low. First, though, don't move creep is -8 if you fully commit, but midway through it's -5, so just stop partway through and you're set. Then there's Crime Prevention Unit 001, Flawless Block Gap leaves it at -7. However, it's just -7 in general, so it's slightly safer, and because of the pushback from the gun, you might be safe from some attacks unless they're flawless blocked. I don't tend to use Crime Prevention Unit 001, mostly because, as RoboCop, I want to emphasize zoning. Get out of my face and let me start shooting you. That's what most people play RoboCop for. But at least there's the option to try and keep them close for one of his other crushing blows. Then we have Heavy Hand of the Law, which is unique in that it has 3 different ranges. We have normal, we have, well, first we have close, mid, and far. Now, these don't reach particularly far, mostly because it's a normal, it's not an actual special move like that. But this knocks down, gets you some distance, and you can fake out an opponent if you hold back. And they think they might miss it, or whiff it and go for far in order to knock them down. On block, the flawless block gap makes this -5. However, on normal block, stop flawless blocking that, please, thank you. He's still -5, so he's not entirely safe out of that. Then we have waste makes haste. This is the low that I would use because crime prevention unit at 001 leaves him +8. And while the standing 2 is 9 frames, it's still plenty fast enough to punish certain things. And RoboCop is +19 on hit off of this, so he can move in and try and go for a throw. So do this, move in, they roll, you throw them, and then potentially get a crushing blow, had they failed the throw attack earlier. On block though, it's -8, and it doesn't look like there's actually a flawless block gap in there, but just to be sure. No, but there's actually a flawless block gap in the beginning parts of the string, which is really weird. But that's your timing. You can flawless block. If you mess up your flawless block timing on the first one, you can try again for the second hit. But if he's going for that third hit, just commit. He'll be -8, and you should be able to punish something at -8, even at this range. And then there's, I'd buy that for $1. This string. It comes off of a 13 frame advancing mid. You might think this could be special combo, or special canceled. No such thing. No such thing. You can't get a combo in any way, shape, or form. This does leave RoboCop at +45 on hit, though. And because there's an overhead at the end, you'll generally be able to hit somebody with it. The requirement for this is that this combo, this string has to be a counter or a punish. Get 27%, knock them down. You lose a lot of frame advantage, though. So you're basically trading being +45 for over double damage. About 2.5 times damage. So if that closes out the round, great. But if you want the frame advantage, don't go for it. Just leave them plus and then try going for throws or enforcing some kind of oki, or even, at the very least in this variation, just back up. Because you can fire a projectile while backing up. Then we have... Oh wait, I'll call you an ambulance as part of the 6th string. Oops, no, it isn't. My bad. Is a low-mid knockdown. Oh, before I forget, on block, it's -7 on flawless block. And just -7 overall. So, and midway through it becomes -5, and the 4-2 is -7. So if you want maximum frame advantage on block, just do 4-2-1. And if you think the opponent is going to let go of block, you could try for that in order to potentially get a crushing blow. Then we have, I'll call you an ambulance, a low knockdown string that, if you fully commit, is -5 with no flawless block gap available. So this is what you use to knock the opponent down. This is another knockdown, get some distance, back up, start throwing shit at people. Then we have Uphold the Law. Comes off of a 10 frame advancing mid, which looks kind of stumpy, but has actually deceptively good range. I can hit you from the skull here. And then, while you don't have to dial in that first bit, you can special cancel into that. You lose the ability to special move cancel after that second one, and then you have to dial the last sequence. So, there you go. And this could be RoboCop's way to extend combos. If you do that, but you won't see it too often. On block, the second hit is -6. The first hit is -5. And then it becomes less safe as you go on. -10. And then, of course, with the pistols, with the pistol shots. Hold on. Let's time that. three of those. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. Nope. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3. There we go. -9 with all of that pushback. So if you're going to go for this string and try to chip somebody out, go for it. Because... if I could do it, right? Alright. I keep pressing too many 2s. There we go. Here, I'll even have him just block normally and stance hold, because nothing here is a low, so... As you can see, you can actually get a fairly decent amount of chip damage out. 2.5% damage is nothing to sneeze at if it's just normals. So, and because of how many times, how many hits there are in this string, you could get 6 hits, and if the opponent is almost dead, they are definitely going to get chipped out by this thing. And finally, we have Directive Classify. This comes off of Forward 4, which I thought was standalone, but it is not. On block, this thing is -7, on flawless block at least. If I just keep hitting this, he'll eventually stop. There we go, -7, and then this launches, and then you can go for that to knock him down, but of course, you have that issue. Damn it. No! It doesn't combo into that. It's not the best thing to use from normal range, but if we go into the corner, you could do stuff like this. Okay. I see how it is. I see how it is, RoboCop. That's not gonna work. I'm doing it too early. Now you can see the potential for what few combo potential things he does have off of this. And even then I missed the special move there. So, RoboCop's strength is not in his combos, especially in this variation where he loses a key combo tool, which is normally universal, but it is not available in this variation. So the only really universal thing that he has are these attacks here. He does have some moves that are normally universal, but they get replaced in OCP's finest. First up is Cobra Assault Cannon. Big honkin' gun. It's one of the strongest projectiles by raw damage in the game at 10%, but it's very, very slow. But where it's really strong is pushback. Look at that. Already, after 2 of those shots, he's basically full screen. And then even at minimum range, look at that. I am literally full screen away from Terminator, which is really good for RoboCop because RoboCop is extremely good at long range. A gun that big, you might wonder, does it have a crushing blow? Yes, it does. But you have to counter or punish a, quote, very close opponent. So what that means, I'm not 100% sure, but, or I don't know the exact range, but we'll find that out. Well, of course that would work. So let's back up a little bit. There it is. So the opponent has to basically be within sweeping range for you to get this crushing blow, which is 27% and knocks him back a considerable distance. However, you can't amplify the crushing blow. So RoboCop's crushing blows are really weird. On the surface, they look pretty good. 27% is nothing to scoff at in terms of one move's damage, but they all have their own caveats. For instance, like, I can't amplify Cobra Assault Cannon, which I can get a little under half of that damage, but knock them back full screen. Just like how with this crushing blow, they're down and closer, but I lose a considerable amount of frame advantage when they do that. So when I get the crushing blow. So it's a weird give and take thing that some of the characters don't have to deal with their crushing blows. And RoboCop doesn't even have to deal with that with his throws. So I don't know why RoboCop has this bizarre give and take mechanic thing with his throws, but it is what it is. Then we have shoulder control cannon, not the amplifies, because again the amplifies can change. This complements his zoning and does really good damage. The only real obstacle is travel time, and even then, you can hit an opponent from full screen and keep them back. I should mention that Cobra Assault Cannon is minus 24 on block, but it pushes back really far. This is now minus 13. Can you truly say you can punish this 13 frames before RoboCop can press any button? I don't think so. And while we're at it, very quickly, yes, this is why I always go for this. Any punish I have, I will take 21% off of an 8-frame punish. And there you go. Now you have to deal with zoning. I'm a little nasally all of a sudden. So if I sound a little stuffy. Now let's talk about what OCP's Finest brings to the table as far as abilities. And because there is so much to cover, we're going to have to do it in 2 parts. First up, we have Active Patrol, which replaces his normal straight auto 9. He advances, and you can cancel with... I'm just going to mash grab for a little bit of bar. Now, the opponent shouldn't be too scared of this, because if RoboCop lets it rip, you get 60 damage and he's closer to you. Which, while RoboCop can do okay at close range, he definitely prefers backing up. And Reactive Patrol is the same thing but better because he's backing up. You can cancel it, delay it, just keep walking, do the Robo Moonwalk, there you go. Then we have Terminal Strip. This is a command grab, which not usually seen on zoners, but there you on zoners or keep away characters, but there you go. You can amplify to switch sides and get a little extra damage. And then if you hold amplify, you can walk them towards the corner. And if this counters or punishes a wake-up roll, which remember, any move classed as a throw will beat, you get some damage. It works on the amplify as well, but interestingly, I think it actually does slightly less damage. Yeah, it will always do 270, although if you amplify it, you get 130. What is that? I see. Yeah, for some reason you get more damage off of the amplify, but you can't turn it into more damage on the crushing blow. It's very, very strange. Then we have the shoulder crowd control cannons amplify in this mode, which is a very long shocking mid. 1, 2. The opponent is basically stunned for a full second. So if I have him, actually I'm gonna do this with RoboCop. I'm gonna make Terminator be controlled by me, and I'm gonna have RoboCop do this. Should hit me, yeah. So now I'm holding block. See how long it takes for Terminator to come out of that? It takes a really long time, almost 3 seconds. So I know it says Terminator's plus 185 on hit, but I'm pretty sure it's not. It takes into account the startup, unless let's see. Oh no, it doesn't. I guess I stand corrected. They are stunned for like 3 seconds. That's a really long time. Oh, and while I'm at it, active patrol is minus 16, whereas reactive patrol is actually slightly less plus at minus 21. But again, you're using these as projectiles. You're only gonna really ever use this if you want to try and close a little bit of the distance and mess with your opponent. Basically all that's good for. And then, of course, there's no block data for this thing because it's a command grab. However, I believe you can duck this thing. No, you can't. It's a mid-command grab. Very odd indeed. And then, of course, let's see. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, there. Yeah, you can block this thing for sure. But hold on. However, here's the thing about this being a combo starter. Because it takes so long to actually be active, you have to almost knock the opponent into it. And even then, keep in mind the really low damage that you get out of this. The combo scaling reduces your combo damage by about 20% right off the cuff, right as soon as you land this. So, not even worth it for that sort of thing. Like, I would just do that, because I'm getting basically the same amount of damage for the same amount of meter, and I'm getting that sort of thing. The only thing is that I can't really think of anything that, like, because look, it hits afterwards, and you can't really stun them into it, so this is really just a setup tool that you scare the opponent with. Like, oh shit, he's gonna do the thing! And then I go in for a throw or something. Now let's move on to Competitive Variation 2, Prime Directive, which will have some new stuff for us that is technically universal. I think this is the one. Okay. So we still won't see the universal, but we do get this, which I think I forgot to cover in the last variation because I didn't see it. Hold on. I'll look into it later. Add a little caption. Hey, this actually has it, and I was just an idiot or something. Okay, first up, High Auto 9. It's a good anti-air, but what you're really going to use this puppy for is corner combos. So you do this, and then as you can see, you can extend combos with this. As you can, to get some decent damage. But remember, you have to let your opponents fall a little bit. And I'm having trouble landing this conversion. Why am I having so much trouble landing this conversion? Guess I have to do a poke. There we go. Look at that! 350 damage for technically 2 bars in a stage interactable, but better than nothing, right? And if you really want to, I think you should be able to uppercut out of this, right? No way. Really, really odd. It's not the best combo tool, but unless we maybe do it meterless. Stop doing the metered version. Okay. There it is. And look at that. We even got even more damage out of that. Because I guess this just scales too hard. So, in the corner, as you can see, you can get some decent combos. But 9 times out of 10, don't waste the meter. You should just be fine with... There should be... I don't know why I can't get standing 1 out. I should be able to at least get the poke out. Let's try that. Yeah. So you can get the poke out to potentially get some combos going, but it's, like I said, RoboCop's not the strongest in the combo department, but at least this gives him something to work with. And then there's Riot Shield. Outside of lows and I believe jumping attacks, this thing beats everything. This variation does not have what I wanted, so yeah, I'm just gonna very quickly switch variations. Riot Shield, I'll talk about real quick though. It's a parry that does decent damage and knocks the opponent back. And against most projectiles, again, any low or jumping projectiles are basically exempt from this. RoboCop can basically parry it, as you will see in a minute here. I'm also going to set this up to give him something there, and then I'll have Terminator wake up in the next little bit. So set this up. If I see it coming, I should be able to stuff all three. But if I get this, I should actually have enough to do that. Which I don't think... Oh, the advances are all high, so that is actually legit. Very good to know. And then, of course, on a physical attack, I get 10% damage, knocking them back. And if I amplify, I get 160 with the Cobra Assault Cannon. And if this beats a wake-up attack, I get 330. I get fatal blow damage. So while I don't get a combo like Liu Kang, try not to wake up against RoboCop that has the Riot Shield. It's just not going to end well for you. Now let's talk about what this has in terms of abilities, which is fewer, but there's still some moves that get replaced. Low Auto 9 replaces the straight Auto 9. So it's slightly slower, but it's functionally the same attack for all intents and purposes. It knocks back, it does decent damage, and I forgot to set this up, but I believe that doesn't matter because this can't be hit on the ground anyway, and this is a parry. You can't block parries. But Low Auto 9 can be blocked. So as you can see, if I amplify it, if he didn't flawless block, did I say tolerable flawless block? I did not. The chip damage can get pretty nasty, even if you mess up your flawless block timing, or especially if you mess up your flawless block timing. Then we have Arm Crowd Control Cannon, which you remember this. Oh, by the way, the normal amplify is a mine. So you set up the mine. Wait for it. You can get these to combo into each other, but it's very tricky to get a combo going with this, as you can see. But you can still get a combo off of these. It's just that you have to kind of think ahead. And I believe these are marked as mids, not as lows. Yeah. So no side rack shenanigans from MKX. But Arm Crowd Control Cannon is a ridiculously fast rocket. Look at that. Like, for comparison, that's the bullet, that's the rocket. The rocket goes faster. And on Amplify does 130. However, you can delay it by holding it down. So you can set it up so that the opponent has to be extremely worried. He can't go down and set up a Low Auto 9 to mess you up. But if you're trying to block this thing, good luck. Now there's considerably less pushback on this thing, even on Amplify, but it still leaves you at +7 if the Amplify connects a blocking opponent. So you could effectively frame trap Terminate or a character this way, and they may be able to block this, but again, consider the chip damage from this or the pushback from an uppercut, and then you're generally good to go. Then there's Flamethrower, which I don't know why RoboCop has a flamethrower. Apparently this was a thing in RoboCop 3 when they started like throwing like all these boosters and control cannons and shit on them, but cool. Flamethrower leaves Terminator, or I keep getting them mixed up, leaves RoboCop +15, and then on Amplify he advances and is still +17. On block, -19, so not safe. And -16 if amplified. So I personally think that this is not the greatest move for plus frames, but at least if you get it connected, you might be able to be plus up to go for a throw or something, but just be careful that you're not actually super plus. You're like +17, which I think Scorpion's flamethrower that is not tournament viable is more plus than this. But before I go, you lose the back forward 2 crushing blow, but you gain a back forward 1 crushing blow. If you duck under and hit, if you duck under a projectile, which this can do, and hit the opponent with this, you get a crouch shot for the ages that leaves RoboCop plus 53, meaning 2 dashes in, I can throw you. Nasty stuff. Now let's move on to the final variation on patrol, which I believe should still have the, yeah, it looks like, yeah, we replaced the things entirely, but we do get this, and we still get the riot shield. So this is my personal favorite variation, even if it has a really crappy thing. So first off, I just want to talk about Straight Auto 9 real quick. I was mistaken earlier, this is actually slightly slower than the Low Auto 9, which is a mid. And I think you can still knock them down, but you can't delay it or anything. It's just a standard high projectile. Nothing to write home about. And you already have a high projectile in Cobra Assault Cannon, so you don't have much to cover people who are ducking in this variation. Then we have, I have everything set up here. Now we gotta talk about everything else that this guy has. We have Air OCP Charge, which is basically Terminator RoboCop. That's the 3rd time I think I've done that. This is RoboCop's answer to Kitana's Square Wave. It has a little more range, but this is not the best move for a couple of reasons. One, it's minus 12 on block, so you're punishable for going for this thing. Second off, its crushing blow is ridiculous. You have to counter or punish a grounded opponent from maximum range. So I have to counter or punish somebody from about here, because I'm active for 17 frames. And generally it looks like if they add about a 2-frame buffer. Yeah, so I have to counter or punish somebody from that range, or I have to break armor. Yes, this is RoboCop's armor breaking attack. And okay, on a delay you might be able to, but again, it's very tricky to land because look at that, I even missed it there. The timing is so tight that I even get a jump 3 instead of this. It takes a really long time. And it's not even worth it because you're not getting a whole lot of damage out of this. Because if I go for the uppercut, I get, again, 280. That's the general. That is your general. If you can beat that, you're set. I'm going to set this to late. And even then, I might not get it. Yeah. So I have to, like, short hop into it. The crushing blow makes it 42%, but that's the only time you'd ever use it, because watch this. If I could get my short hop, that'd be great. I said if I could get my short hop, that would be great. There it is. I get 260. I get less damage. So I'm very sad that this ended up being his armor break. I mean, there aren't too many other options for armor breaking attacks that RoboCop has to begin with, because, I mean, this could potentially armor break to reset combos. That would probably be optimal. But I feel like the idea for armor breaks is that they gotta be these bigger attacks. So, like, Cobra Assault Cannon and the Armed Crowd Control Cannon absolutely could, because they're big weapons. Or maybe because they're spikes standing 4 can, or something along those lines. But no, this stupid thing. Oh, jeez. Then we have Electric Shield, which activates a buff that is active for basically as long as RoboCop's meter takes to recover. So, or a little bit shorter than that, I think? Or does it go away on throw? No, it doesn't go away on throw. So it takes about half of RoboCop's bar regen time for it to come back. So why would you do this? Why would I, as a RoboCop player, go for this thing? Well, quite simply, you'd want to go for this thing because if you're dealing with an opponent that likes to be very, very close and try and wallop you, you'd be pleasantly surprised by something. While it doesn't reflect the damage from projectiles, as you can see, Terminator is taking 1% damage every time he hits me. However, I'm actually going to take the opportunity to test a few things. Theoretically, that should reflect the damage 3 times. Yeah, it looks like... No, it only reflects it twice, really, really strangely. What about for his back throw? Yeah, so we'll see if... I feel like it's... I'm watching his health here. Yeah, it only reflects the damage twice for some reason during throws. And I believe that also includes his Gorilla Press Slam, so... hold on. His usual command grab. Bless me. So... This isn't the best against throws because of that property, yeah. But it's really good against opponents that really like to try and combo you out. So if you got a life lead, just pop this thing. Just pop this thing. And then you should actually be okay. And if I amplify, or if I block, I can reflect the damage from projectiles, at least within close range if I block. The trouble is that they take half of the damage. So that ends up being the same amount of damage as if I didn't block. So you have to pick your battles depending on your character, but generally speaking, you can just set this up and then block. And then, yes, you've taken more damage, but the gap is considerably smaller. So Electric Shield can be a really cheeky way to end a round, especially when you talk about Shovel Trap. Lay out some spike strips. You can only have one set of spike strips out at a time, but think of these as Aaron Black's old Caltrops from Mortal Kombat X. You set them out, the opponent's movement is restricted, and they take damage over time. If you stand on the trap, you cannot dash, but I believe you can jump out of it. The question then becomes, what happens if Terminator were to jump? Does he take more damage like in Injustice 2 against Poison Ivy's Brambles? No, he doesn't. So that's fair enough. But then, of course, there's the dirty stuff with throws. Let's say you do this, move in, back throw. That was 160. Which means, with the crushing blow, 325. So you're not getting much more damage, but you're getting some more damage. Look at that. Look at that. That's not so bad. And then we can do this. Just to get that little extra spicy damage to finish somebody off. If you amplify, you set up what is effectively tear gas. This will explode on impact, leaving the opponent, or leaving RoboCop's opponent at between plus 21 and plus 10, depending on how you hit them. But at a minimum, RoboCop is plus 10. So you can do something like... if that would actually hit. There we go. Do the far version, bring the opponent to the ground to take away their wake up, and RoboCop becomes plus 8. Not really able to enforce anything, but still. Depriving wake ups is a scary thing in this game. Now here's one thing to keep in mind. You do have the very far shovel trap, but you do not have a very far tear gas variant. You only get the mid version because the tear gas version rolls for a little bit before it goes down. So let's suppose that in the corner, we'll say, we knock Terminator up, and let's set this up even. As you can see, the setups can get ridiculous. So set this up, set this up, set this up, because you can have one trap in this. and then you can get crazy amounts of damage. Of course, this requires your opponent to play nice and let you set up, but even if you just get this off, you can see where things get extremely dangerous with RoboCop in this variation. He's all set up here. So you set this up, the opponent's taking the gas, you set this up, the stun is unblockable, you could go for a throw loop, and then set this up to try and punish their wake up. Or, because you have the parry, which I'm going to very quickly take full advantage of this fact, you could do something like this. Get up attack. I think unbending for him is their wake up, is invincible wake up. Yep. So let's set this up. Do this. Do this. Go for a throw. Parry. And look at that. They're already almost dead in that sequence. That wasn't really a combo per se, because if I would have to basically set it up in by, let's say, let's get Terminator closer like that, and then if I do this and then reset the position to be that, there we go. I'd have to like do this. I have to do this, and then hope that I can basically trick him into being forced into that situation, which isn't that hard to do, relatively speaking, if you can get the knockdown and then time your bomb just right. And I messed it up because it was supposed to be the shovel trap, but still, knock him down, keep him down. And even though that was horribly unoptimized, that's still a lot of damage just because your opponent let you get the jump on you with this. So I keep forgetting it's down back 4 for that as well. And then they try and wake up out of that. Sayonara, dirtbag. Look at all of that damage combined. It's a little bit tricky because you kind of have to set it up, but if you're the setup type of person, this is the variation for you. Now, the one thing you should keep in mind about RoboCop overall in this variation, if you are fighting him, is that you want to deprive him of his momentum. I was looking for this thing. So you want to absolutely deprive RoboCop of any and all momentum that he has so that he can't set that thing up in your face. So be extremely careful if you're fighting this version of RoboCop, but don't let, and he might get this off, that's fine. Go for throws and projectiles if you see him sparking like this. But if RoboCop does this, for the love of God, roll out of this, because otherwise he's going to basically make you pay. And even if you do roll out of it, be mindful that he can just back throw you. So he can adapt to your adaptation, so be careful. Then we have Ed 209. 19 frames and advancing mid. Knocks the opponent back considerably, if I remember right, because of Ed 209. Bada bam. Yeah, knocks him back at a considerable range, but the maximum range of this attack is less than the OCP charge, because it's only active for 10 frames, whereas this is active for 17 frames. So if you land this, you'll be able to potentially get a little bit of distance from the opponent, and this is RoboCop's best damage ender, as are most Fatal Blows, but it's his best, predominantly because he doesn't have much else to end combos and big damage. But I'm going to try with a special combo formula of mine that I just came up with in On Patrol. Don't forget to be awesome, my friends. I'll see you guys on the other side, and hopefully you enjoy RoboCop more than I do. See you around. There we go.